Dude, rum and juice is like low-key the best like starting alcoholic beverage. Very light, but that's how it gets you. Because like 7 of them in, and you're like, wait a minute.
How many of these did I have again?
That's a little much.
That's a little much.
It's like the time I drank 4 Undertaker's cocktails at my brother's wedding, and I didn't realize how bad it was until I got up for like the speech.
Yeah.
I couldn't do the speech. I remember walking, like waddling out of the room and just vomiting into some dude's golf cart because we were on a big resort. Oh no, you recorded that.
I sure did.
Well, we've got our intro.
And welcome to another episode of 57% True. I am Jason, your host, and today we have a nice treat for you. I have 2 of my favorite people emailing me. They're not in this room. I'm just teasing.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, just to make you...
literally set us up and you sat there for like a second saying nothing. You're like emailing me. Absolute monster.
So as you can tell, I have Cody here with me again.
Oh, that's not my name.
Oh, I'm sorry. What is your name?
It's Turd Ferguson.
Turd Ferguson. We're not doing Celebrity Jeopardy right now. And nicely, patiently waiting with a smile next to him is Will.
I'm back.
He's back. Why I have these 2 in the same room together, I don't know. I think it should be pretty interesting, though. It'll be good. It'll be good.
Are you sure?
It'll be good.
Okay, it'll be good.
No, I'm just telling myself that.
Oh, okay.
So, I have you guys here because you both said you wanted to be here, but we're going to talk about some things that actually we might not agree on for once. That might be kind of fun, and it'll be good. So, what are we going to talk about first?
Oh, we have many topics.
We do have many topics.
Many topics.
Do you want to give the topics and then just dive in?
Oh,
as a teaser to
you're
our...
giving me a lot of responsibility, but I'll start with the one that I'm most interested in because it sounds the best. Gay cakes.
Gay cakes.
That just sounds amazing.
It does sound amazing. So we're going to tackle gay cakes, and then...
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture. And then we might dabble our toe a little bit into... Religions. Which I talked to my friend Al Hassan last night, so that made me pretty happy. My Libyan Muslim friend. So
how can you say Muslim? Like Muslim. I'm so glad that like people are finally starting to realize that Muslim is not a race.
Yeah.
Like the fact that there are people who are like Muslim's a race, and I'm like,
no.
What? Hello? It's not, but I'm pretty sure most Muslims are like, I've never seen like these Muslim people before. They're like the Yeti. I don't.
Right?
I've never seen like a person who's listed their ethnicity as Muslim.
Yeah. Well, I'm used to hearing Muslim coming from Al Hassan's mouth, and that's how I've said it instead of Muslim.
I mean, I just say Muslim. I mean, I don't know exactly how to say it, but I mean, my horrible American inflection probably destroys many a word.
That's true. Yeah. All right, so gay cakes.
Oh, we're starting with this one.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's what you said you wanted to start
No,
with.
I wasn't naming them any specific order, but I mean, if we're going to jump right into gay cakes...
You said that was the one that you were most excited about.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the one we have to do first.
Well, what are we doing first?
The word is in. We're doing gay cakes.
We're doing gay cakes. All right.
All right, so gay cakes. Now, this was one that Will brought up. So do you want to do a intro on what gay cakes is all about?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm sure a lot of people know about this already. But the dilemma is there is a gay couple who are interested in purchasing a cake for their wedding. Hence the gay cake.
Uh-huh.
The business owner that they contact for the cakes is denying to make them a cake on religious grounds. The gay couple then believe that they are being discriminated against, and therefore we have a problem. Do we support the business owner in his right to practice his religion and therefore reject the wedding cake? Or do we support the gay couple who have requested to have a cake and are now being excluded which is therefore discrimination according to the Merriam-Webster definition.
Now, as we like to do on this show, we're going to blow some people's minds. So, Will, let's start with you. Do you have a side that you choose, per se?
No.
See? Bam.
No, I don't.
And I'll let you explain. I'm not going to say words for you. But go ahead. Go ahead and say, like what your view is on both ends of that then.
Oh, it's hard to say in just a couple sentences, but I think we're in an area where there's a lack of law to help guide society on this. Mm-hmm. Because just by definition, the business owner is discriminating against the couple. If the business owner has opened a shop to make cakes, to make wedding cakes, to the public, I believe that the public should be all-inclusive. On the other hand, I respect that the business owner is religious and believes that making a cake for that would be condoning something that they are not morally okay with. So, a lot of gray area, a lot of overlap, because I see the discrimination happening to the gay couple, and I see the liberties being stepped on for the business owner. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if there's a happy medium. I'm wondering if there need to be laws. I'm wondering if there needs to be definitions. Can you open a public business and only serve part of the public? Can you open a private business and only serve parts of the public? I mean, it's
right.
There's a lot of wiggle room and not enough definition.
Cody, anything?
Well, bringing up the whole, can we make a private business and only serve part of the public? I mean, we have examples of that all over. That's a very common thing. True. Specifically, it's more class-based. So there are a lot of places that only serve rich people or only handle rich people. Let's look at Tesla. I love Elon Musk, but my God, if you're poor, you have nothing to do with that company.
Forget about it, right?
Yep, completely out of your league, man, and you know it. But in terms of like the entire situation regarding the business owner's right to do, like, I don't think you should be able to force anyone to do anything. So on one hand, I have to side with the business owner and whoever's running the business, because it's their right as a business owner to deny service for any grounds they actually see fit. And if it's religious, it's a little bit more, you can kind of get behind it a little bit more.
Right.
On the same side, I also don't agree with discrimination against the gay couple. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to actually like say exactly who you're okay with in the situation, because like I think honestly, if you're a business owner and you know that denying a couple like this or denying anybody like this is going to cause backlash, you should be 100% ready to accept the responsibility of that decision. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I feel that they should be handled. Is, while yes, they have the right to deny service to a gay couple, well, that's a whole bunch of basically business that they've now completely cut themselves off of, and they should understand that that's going to be the case. Mm-hmm. And it's really just, can you live with the repercussions of your own actions? It's really, can you be responsible for the choices that you make? Mm-hmm. And I think as a business owner, that's got to be one of the biggest things you can handle. So, I mean, on one hand, I can kind of be behind either side on this, because the business owner is obviously making this decision knowing that, one, it's morally against his religious beliefs, and two, he's going to get the ramifications of this decision. So there is something happening. There is a negative happening to the store for doing this. Mm-hmm. Do I think the law should come in and do something about it? No. I don't think the law should have anything to do with it at all. I don't think the law should come in and force them to make cakes for whoever. I don't think the law should side with either side. I think the law should kind of stay out of it, because as a privately owned business or as a public business, you know, if that's owned by the shop owner, it's a private business. That's his business. Mm-hmm. While it is open to the public, it is still a private business. He has the right to make any decision that he feels fit for either his business or his moral grounds regarding his business.
So to maybe play devil's advocate in a couple of ways, not saying that I necessarily believe in what I'm about to ask, but well, one is we have to one, in my opinion, know whether the gay couple knew if it was a Christian bakery or if it was owned by a family or whoever that was Christian, and whether it was intentional. I'm not saying that they were doing it out of maliciousness, but in the particular case we're talking about, after the cake shop said that they weren't going to make the cake, then the gay couple sued the bakery. Is that the one you're thinking of?
I believe that's the case, yes.
Okay.
However, just a quick aside, I believe it was also the only cake shop within a certain distance from these people. I would need to check again, but
Yeah.
I seem to remember that being a part of it.
Sure. And so initially, you're going to have, and I'm not saying that, them damn gays were being mean. I'm not saying that at all. but in today's culture and society, it seems like everybody is out to make a quick buck. I mean, there's a warning on coffee, caution hot, no shit. So that's what I mean by, was this malicious intent, or was it just they walked into a place and they said no? They felt crappy because the guy's saying, I don't agree with what you do in the 90-night time, and, wackiness ensued. The other thing, too, is I agree with I don't want a law per se, like, the police to come in and be like, hey, you've got to make this cake if you, even if you don't disagree. But at the same time, I don't want, them to be like, hey, they're gay, you got to do whatever they want, because that's going to open up so many freaking Pandora's boxes. So I understand the knee-jerk reaction of not wanting a law per se to handle that. But you have these protected classes or these protected things, such as, you can't do things based off race, you can't do things based off sex, you can't be. So now we're getting into something different that, like you said, the laws aren't really up to snuff, so to speak. And so is this something that should be protected, even though it may go against the business owner's personal beliefs / ideals?
I don't think it should. It's private business. He owns that business. I don't think they should have any right to force or enforce anything to make them do anything. This is America. You don't have the right to force anybody to do anything. I mean, if you don't want to pay taxes, you can not pay taxes. You'll pay for it.
You'll get in trouble,
You'll
right?
Get in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, the public will sort out the situation, basically. The people themselves will sort out the situation with their money. Mm-hmm. They will either support or not support the business. It's what happens in all these situations. So, for example, I don't like Coca-Cola for multitudes of reasons. The primary one actually not being what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. Like if a company does something really bad, the public sorts it out.
Sure.
And that's just how it should be. Like, he's going to feel the ramifications of his decision. Gay couples aren't going to go to him, obviously. Mm-hmm. There are going to be people who are straight who think that what he did was terrible. They're not going to go to him anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, I probably wouldn't buy a cake from the guy because I think that's a little. I think it's a little messed up. Like, mm-hmm. Honestly, I'm like, that's kind of not cool, dude. Just, maybe you don't personally make the cake. Yeah. Maybe you have a coworker or somebody make the cake. Maybe you hire somebody else to come make this cake. But your business would be better off making this cake. You literally just turned down money.
Right.
At this point. So, he's not getting paid for this job because he's not doing it. He got a lawsuit filed against him. The public's mad at him. I think he's feeling the ramifications of his decision pretty well.
Yeah. Well, so being the religious one out of the three of us here, I'll kind of give a stupid parable, but I'll kind of explain where I'm going. So there was a known drug dealer that would go to church every Sunday and would give hundreds of dollars in the donation plate. And a lot of the congregation would look and they'd be like, I don't understand. So finally, one time, this woman walks up and says, I don't understand. You know where this money's coming from. Why in the world would you take this from this man? And the priest says, well, it's better for us to do something good with it than have it being, doing bad in the world. Now, you can infer however you want out of that, but it means that you can take a bad situation and make it good, right? Just because that was a bad guy, he is giving money to the church that he can now do things good with. If the guy really was, the owner of the shop really was worried about his convictions and everything about, his religious beliefs and things of that nature. And you know what? Maybe it would have made him uncomfortable. Okay. Maybe he was very sheltered. Who knows? Whatever. But if he was that upset about doing it, I can understand the knee-jerk reaction of, no, I'm not going to do it for you. Even though, like you said, Cody, that it's going to impact his business. Mm-hmm. I agree to the point where that's one of the best parts of capitalism. There's bad parts of capitalism. But, like you said, the public takes care of it, right? So, you hear something bad, it's just like Coca-Cola. Not the reason that you were talking about earlier, but
your reason. The
elephant in the room, my reason was, you're too white. So, there's too many people that are just going to be like, oh, well, I'm white, I'm not going to buy Coke anymore. And then guess what? Stocks are going to drop. They're going to be like, oh, shit, what did I do? Whatever. So in this situation, I feel that even if it was against his moral whatever, make the cake, have it be part of this ceremony, whatever. And then guess what? People are going to talk about it. Oh, that was a good cake. Don't tell me you've never been to a wedding where someone didn't say something about the cake. Right?
I've been to exactly 2 weddings in my life. And one of them, I was too drunk to remember any of it.
That's a good wedding.
That was, yeah. Yeah, it was.
But what I'm saying is, so again, he could have taken that negative in his mind and turned it into a positive. Hey, you know what? I don't agree what this is for, but it's a cake. They're going to talk about it. Oh, I got it from that cute little bakery down the road, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, that's a really great bottle. And then you could take it from there. Am I saying that he should take the heat for that one? I don't know. Maybe. Sometimes we do things that we don't. I mean, he opened up a public business, like you said, Will. He opened a public business. He has to understand that the public is not going to be 100% WASP Christian, right? I mean, it's just not going to be that way.
Unless you're in Alabama.
Correct. So you have to understand that if you're a public business, you are going to be doing and offering things to the entire public. People will argue, well, you can, you go into most any other business and it's going to say, we reserve the right to deny service to anyone for any reason. Yeah, but that's kind of a jackass thing to do. Am I right?
Well, yeah. But I mean, it
depends on the reason.
Yeah.
If someone comes in and starts trashing the place, you can
sure,
deny
right?
them
Yeah,
service.
get the hell out, right? But that's what I mean. I guess it's yeah, you're covered by that blanket because, as you said, Cody, every business has that right to, because they are the public business anyway. So I don't know. Are we going to have an answer for this? No, I don't think so. But it's just a really shitty situation.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It's pretty messed up. Just make the damn cake. Dude, man turned down money. Okay, this man's not very intelligent. If he turning down money and gay representation, that's a big one,
right?
Dude, you could get gay people just driving like out of state to get a cake made at that point.
Yeah.
This Christian guy had a cake made for gay people. We're gonna go get the cake made there.
Well,
he blew that chance.
And see, so there's another thing. So again, me being Christian, I mean, I'm friends with gays. I will. And so that could be one of those things where, there are a lot of gay people who think that Christians are either out to get them or they're assholes or they're just like, oh, they automatically hate me because of, how I am. And that's not always the case. I mean, there are some out there that are because they're idiots. But, like myself, I don't care. So then let's say that company did make that cake for them. And then they're like, yeah, I got it from that bakery. Well, what if someone was like, oh, I know Bob. He's a Christian. Be like, what? A Christian made a cake for a gay couple's wedding? Holy crap. And then again, would help bridge that gap. Maybe give some better understanding.
I mean, or it could have done nothing.
Right.
There's a good chance of just making the cake because, hey, it's money, it's business.
That's what I do. Yeah.
I mean, does he even need to care what the cake's actually... It's for a wedding.
Right.
Make a wedding cake.
Right. Are you ever going to see these people again?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Make their cake.
So...
That's me at work when I get bad calls.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm never going to see these people again. And they call next week.
But... I don't know, anything, did we say anything off kilter there, Will, that you're just like...
No.
Freaking
really.
Breeders, are you kidding me? No, nothing?
No,
okay.
No.
Freaking breeding.
No, yeah, I mean, I get it. If I was operating a business and someone wanted me to print, to put something on a cake that was against something I strongly hate, like whatever it may be, I would be uncomfortable doing it too. So, but like I said, I understand every angle of this. Like I get the shop owner's point of view. I get the discriminated point of view. And that's why when I was talking about laws, I wasn't necessarily talking about like you were, Cody, with someone needing to enforce anything, but just as I guess just like as a guideline of what to do in these sorts of situations. Like,
Sure.
when you open a business, here's what you're expected to do as a business. Otherwise, maybe you lose your business license, or maybe you pay a fine, or you know, something. But I don't know.
It's hard for this situation because, like, if you go into that route, like enforcing it through a fine or something, at which point are we okay with religious freedom? Because, like, you can use religious freedom as your choice for not making a specific decision with your business. So, like, in those situations, do we still enforce a fine? Do we still punish people at that point? Like, because now people are being punished for their religious beliefs, and I'm completely against that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
So it's really, really hard to make, like, the comparison or make things so it's not, like, punishing people for something they moralistically disagree or agree with. And I don't think that any form of government should have the right to come in and tell somebody what they can and can't believe.
Sure. Absolutely.
Unless it's being a Nazi. Don't be a Nazi.
Don't be a Nazi.
Don't be a Nazi.
It's really not hard.
It's
Well, three of us right now, not Nazis.
You have to try pretty hard to be a Nazi. Like, you actually have to be actively attempting
Yes.
to be a Nazi. Like, for example, if my kids said they wanted Minecraft for Christmas and Uncle Bob brought them Mein Kampf, I would know what was going on real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. No, he said Minecraft.
That's a red flag there. Get it? Red? Okay.
Oh
So,
my God.
So just before we move on the flip side, with talking about religious liberty and I guess if we reverse it, we put the shoe on the other foot. The public then would need to understand they don't have a right to be served by anyone, which I think is already how it is. But we're in a type of culture where, and I'm noticing this more and more, and this probably is a good segue into our next topic. I don't know if you guys want to, but we're like, as a society, Western society, we're like assuming we have rights that are not necessarily written down.
Yeah.
Rights.
We have rights that aren't
like,
rights.
Yeah, like the right to be an asshole. I
reserve
guess
that immediately. Dibs. Dibs.
You have the right to say whatever you want, you know, kind of. You have the right to act however you want, kind of. You don't have the right to be accepted, you know, like if your opinion is garbage.
people confuse right with privilege.
Yes.
And I don't mean white privilege. I mean, like, the definition of a right as compared to a privilege.
For example, you have a right to bear arms.
Yes.
You can own a gun. You're allowed to do that. You should be allowed to do that. And you have a right to defend yourself. Like, you can do that. Nobody's allowed to tell you you're not allowed to defend yourself, by the way. If you're viewers, if you're listening and somebody says you're not allowed to defend yourself, that is a lie.
Yeah.
You can do that.
For now.
The thing that I like most about this specific topic and this specific conversation is the public still sorts all this stuff out.
Yeah.
So if somebody has a really shitty opinion and they're doing really shitty things, who handles that? The public.
The public.
The public handles it. So like, while you do have a right to like be a dick, to be honest with you, like you can go around and be as much of a dick as you want.
Sure.
You're gonna deal with the ramifications of that decision.
Absolutely.
Like, and the public will generally sort you out. And that's just how that goes. Like, that's why I like living where I live. Like, that's what makes it fun, because you can see all this drama build up around crazy stuff. Like, you can be as crazy as you want. I mean, okay, first of all, you can't run around butt naked.
No.
Okay, that's illegal.
Yeah.
As much as I wish it wasn't. I am very offended about this.
I know.
But me being offended, I have a right to be offended, but I don't have a right to, like, do anything about being offended.
Of course.
Like, I can't go and be like, okay, I'm mad that I can't run around naked. I'm going to go and accost the Capitol building. Now they'll know that I want to be naked and they can't stop me. And if I do it while naked, even better. No, that's a crime. You'll go to jail.
That is correct. So, yeah, and again, the first 10, the Bill of Rights, that those are rights given to us as whatever. We have privileges given, that we can assume, essentially. But that doesn't mean that you can just act however you want. So, for instance, yes, they are. If we're going back to the cake thing, is that where you were kind of? So, I mean, like, they absolutely had every right to go into that place and order a cake. That's fine. They had absolutely every right to sue the company for discrimination. Absolutely. The shop owner absolutely had the right to say, no, I'm not going to serve you. So, all of these things that happened are technically valid.
Mm-hmm.
It just sucks because just because they had the ability to do it, should they have done it?
Well, I mean, they're paying for it.
No, I understand. Yeah. I'm saying on the whole.
I think they should have. Like, honestly, I'm 100% like full blown. Like I told you earlier, well, if somebody ever denies making you a cake, let me know. I'll tell. I used to bake a lot. I got you. I got you, man. You like Sarah Lee? Sarah Lee.
So yeah, that's where, yeah, I mean, everything that happened in that scenario is totally, legal. So whatever. But just the situation sucks.
Did they win the lawsuit? Do we know?
They did, and the shop had to shut down.
Wow.
Yes.
I don't like that result.
Ooh, yeah. I don't like that either.
And that was where it hit me in the feels, because I'm like, listen, again, it was totally their right. They absolutely had that ability, but because of that decision, now this baker is out of a job. Now there are some people that are applauding that. They're like, good, never, if that's how he's going to be, you shouldn't have it anyway. There are other people that are like, well, here we are, just another, cast against religious whatever. But yeah,
not a good year for Deus Vult. It's just not.
No.
This is. There are many years where Deus Vult's pretty good. This is
not the year
one.
For it,
we are not retaking Jerusalem this year.
No,
friend. It's not happening.
Better luck next year. So, yeah. Any other final thoughts?
Well, yeah, I didn't know that the gay couple won the lawsuit and that the shop had to shut down. I think that's crappy. I don't like that result. I think you asked earlier, do we have an answer? I think Cody's answer is the best. Let the public vote with their dollar, and if the business suffers, then there's your answer.
So be it. I don't like that the government would step in and award the gay couple money for a lawful decision, like a lawfully written in law decision that the company had. I don't think that's right, and they should have had no business doing that, because they were going to lose business anyways. They might have even lost everything,
sure,
because of their decision. But at least don't force that on them.
Right. It was a lose-lose situation once that owner made that decision.
Yep.
But in this second scenario, they at least would have had the ability to possibly build something back up, regain some ground. But unfortunately, yeah, as you mentioned before.
Yeah, the government was like, no. Yeah. Smited.
Right.
So normally I would say the public sorting it out is what happens. But now we're in a weird time where companies are saying what happens and not the public. For example, and this goes into cancel culture.
Yep.
For example, Disney Plus removing certain older, classical cartoons, movies that they've had, because according to today's standards, there's content in them that would be considered, say, racist or sexist or what have you. And it's almost like these... I haven't met a single person in my... This is anecdotal, but I haven't met a single person in my experience that likes anything being canceled.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, I'm going to cancel you for about 30 seconds, and I'm going to do a quick ad. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back. So, through the magic of editing...
canceled.
So,
Jason.
What?
You just canceled a gay guy.
I know.
Oh, this podcast is going to go down.
I think... Lawsuit City. You like Sarah Lee, right? I'm just making sure that...
That's all right. I'm a protected class now. I'm over 40. You can't. That's ageism.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So suck it.
It's okay. I'll forget about have a senior moment in like a year, and that's when you'll get them. You'll bring up this podcast and be like, got him.
Podcast. Is that what we're doing?
Oh, shoot.
Nah.
It's already started.
So, yeah, cancel culture. So, canceling things that... Do they really need canceled? I think I can go out on a very short limb and say that all three of us agree that cancel culture is absolutely ridiculous. Yes?
Asterisk.
Yeah, asterisk on that. So no, I'll be really quick. So there are obviously things that shouldn't be, like, let's be really blunt here. Song of the South.
Okay.
Unedited Song of the South.
Yeah.
Probably has no business being aired on Disney Plus.
Okay.
So, like, while I don't think it should be canceled, I definitely think it should be one of those things you have to be going out and actively trying to find and not just be on Disney Plus.
Okay.
So I don't agree with cancel culture as a whole. I think it's awful, but definitely a little asterisk, because boy, if we had Morgan Freeman reading Mein Kampf on Disney Plus, I probably would not watch that.
So we're talking about how the public sorts things out.
Yeah.
So if Disney Plus, they actually did put Song of the South on there, did they not?
They did, yes.
Yes. So that is completely up to the company.
It is completely up to them.
And that's my asterisk.
Yeah.
It's their content.
Right.
They have the right as a company
Right.
to decide what they want to offer on their content.
Okay. Good. I thought it was going to be, no, you should absolutely have freedom of choice or freedom of speech, except
No. They should definitely be able to put Song of the South on there. I'm not okay with it personally, but it's their right. They can do that. It's theirs.
Guess what you get to do?
Not watch it.
Click. Yeah,
not
I
watch
get to move right on over to Moana for the 49th time, or whatever it is. So just because it's out there doesn't mean that you have to partake in it. Now, there are people that are saying, well, it shouldn't be out there in the first place, because now what if someone's like, Song of the South, I've never seen that, and then they watch it and they're like, oh my god, racism, my eyes. Well, guess what they get to do? Click.
Not watch it, yeah.
They get to hit stop and say, I didn't even make it through the first 3 minutes of Train Spotting.
So I'll be quick. I think my only issue with like having Song of the South on Disney Plus is it's a very popular medium for kids.
Sure.
And a lot of kids watch it like without parents around. It happens all the time. So I think it should be on there. Like I think it's like one of those things. Maybe they should consider password protecting so the kid can't just go and watch it. It's definitely something that there's a little bit of gray area with it, because it's like that definitely is something that was made like in the early 40s, back during Jim Crow still being a thing.
Yeah.
And it was bad. Like if you've never seen Song of the South, it's pretty bad.
Oh, it's every stereotype. And
every single conceivable stereotype.
Not just a little.
No.
It is cranked to 11. So, but here's my thing on Disney Plus. Now, I don't have it. I don't know if you guys do, but I could swear that you can do, like, there is a kids-only section. Which one is it? Amazon has that right now.
Amazon does. I don't think Disney Plus does.
Really? I thought they did.
Well, Disney Plus doesn't have like anything really bad on there besides maybe featuring Song of the South.
But sure, and then a couple others that we'll get into, but yeah.
But I mean, like, typically, I don't think Disney Plus has a adults feature only or kids mode only for their platform.
Because it's Disney.
And I mean, like, I'm okay with that to an extent, but I definitely think that they need to go back and we look at like their older stuff and be like, okay, maybe parents have to be like okay with just kids randomly watching this stuff.
Yeah.
I think Disney Plus is actually launching another platform in Europe right now for more adult content.
Oh.
Yeah. That would mean that would be good.
If they're going to have a separate platform for adults, move it there.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
that's just an option.
100% okay with that. Because as an adult, you should be able to like watch anything, offensive or not. You should just
correct.
Except the Human Centipede. Don't watch that.
But nobody should watch that.
Nobody should watch it. If there's one thing that we should band together and cancel, it's the Human Centipede.
Band together?
Yeah.
Is that what we're gonna?
Yeah.
Okay.
We should band together.
Do you know that movie?
I know of it.
Okay.
Oh no.
I know that it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should.
I don't know why it exists.
Neither does the guy who made it.
No. That was definitely a 3-night bender, and was like, I got it.
I'm actually pretty sure he was just completely ripped off his knocker, and he's like, nobody's gonna like this. It's gonna be awesome.
That's my dating profile.
Oh god. Just 3 Jasons with like a fish head at the front.
So let's change the scenario a little bit. So we talked about Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about something that might be okay to cancel, or maybe not, depending on your opinions.
Okay.
The flying of the Confederate flag.
Okay, so this one's a hard one.
Yeah.
Or statues of Confederate war heroes.
Okay, so to me it depends on the statue of the Confederate war hero. So, like, for example, Robert E. Lee wasn't just like a horrible person. He also did a few good things, but he was also a horrible person.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, in the same regard, like, do we not like let statues of George Washington stay up because he owned slaves? I mean, like, we have to like be okay with we can't be okay with certain evils and not be okay with others. So, I mean, like, yeah, Robert E. Lee did some horrible stuff. He also didn't do a ton of horrible stuff. A lot of the decisions that he made impacted our trade routes, made us grow economically. He helped us a lot, but he was also fighting to keep slaves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, at the same time, George Washington, one of the greatest founding fathers we've ever had, owned slaves. So at what point are we okay with like removing statues of people? Christopher Columbus, for example. Do we remove statues of Christopher Columbus because of the good that he did is not outweighed by the evil that he did? I don't know if I'd even agree with that statement, that that the good he did wasn't outweighed by the evil that he did. Every single person that you look at in history has demons in their closet. Like literally everyone.
Everyone crawling on this earth has demons in their closet.
So the only difference is with the people that we have statues of, we know they're demons. So it's like, are we willing to just cancel people based on that alone? And in some regards, yes. Yeah, I would 100% remove statues of some people. Like, I would take down a statue of Hitler like that, instantly. Stalin, instantly.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't... As far as, like, Confederate war heroes, it depends. I think that there's definitely a big asterisk there. There are some that I absolutely wouldn't mind taking down, like Reginald Thompson. I'd tear his statue down. He was awful. He murdered his own men. He was a piece of crap. I would take his down in a heartbeat if there was one of him up, but I don't think there is. And the flag, I don't know. It's hard to say with the flag, too. So, well, I don't personally support, Captain Loosey Pants. There's a lot of... I have to say, there's a lot of rednecks who really like that flag.
Yes.
And I mean, like, it's... Are you willing to actually, like, put up with the rednecks complaining about losing their flag for the next 50? Because I'm not. Like, well, yeah, sure, we could cancel the Confederate flag, and I wouldn't care. But, I mean, at the same time, it's like, I don't want to deal with the rednecks for the next 50 years complaining about losing their flag.
So, to piggyback off of you, when you're talking about statues, again, you have to outweigh the bad over the good. No one is perfect. I don't care. Like, that's probably my biggest thing. I hate hypocrisy. I hate it. And I can guarantee you, all these idiots that are out there saying, this needs canceled, this needs taken down, are probably some of the dirtiest people you've ever seen in your life, but they have a big voice, so that's what they're going to get. So, my thing is, yeah, so George Washington, I mean, he founded our country.
We wouldn't be having this conversation if not for him.
Correct.
Yeah.
But he did something horrible, which was own slaves. Maybe that's my naivete, but I will say that there's no reason that it should be taken down. We should teach the entire lesson and then say, this was the amazing stuff. This is the horrible stuff, right? I mean, at least that's how I learned, but I'm an old man.
Well, the thing there is, like, you gotta remember, it's also, the statue's been up for ages. Like, long time.
Correct.
Real long time. So it's like, yeah, he owned slaves, but at the time the statue was put up, that wasn't actually, like, a big deal. At least not for the viewpoint of the time. Like, you and me will always look at that and be like, yeah, it's an atrocity, and you have no right to, like, own a human being. That's messed up. Unless it's your child, at which point you own them, go out there and cut my grass.
That's why you made them, right?
Yeah, I'm not cutting grass for 18 years. You're out there cutting grass.
But that's what I mean. Like, people look at it and they're saying, well, this needs taken down because he did this or she did that. Well, maybe we need a reminder of that. Not that it's a good reminder, but that's the whole point. If we start taking this stuff away and then we're like, well, wait, who's, George Washington was founder of the country. Okay. And then not saying that it will happen, but God forbid, what if all of a sudden people are like, you know what? I wish I owned someone other than my own children to do this stuff. Why don't we try giving that a shot? And all this stuff is, circular coming back around. Again, this is way off in space, but you get what I'm saying is having these reminders of good and bad is really what we need. It's not fun. It's not pretty. But that's why we have these things in the first place.
Humanity needs to be reminded of the horrible stuff it's done to not do it again.
Correct.
Like, it's important to have figments of the past be there to haunt you and guide you. I think it's important that they're existing.
That's just it. Right. Now, again, people will be like, yeah, but you're using like Mussolini and Hitler as examples. That's because they were just bad. Like, there was no good.
Hitler didn't just have slaves in the Jewish people. He was murdering all of them.
All of them.
All of them.
And it's not like a statue of Hitler is, if that suddenly is gone, if there was a statue of Hitler and it was taken down, it's not like the world is going to forget about is going to forget about what happened.
I mean, I wonder how many people would have a conversation about, say, the Confederate flag, and how many of them actually know who like Robert E. Lee even is.
Yeah. So yeah. So the Confederate flag to some people, almost had a bad slip up there. The Confederate flag to I think most people who are using it today does not mean what it did then that it does now.
It doesn't.
I don't think they see it as a traitor nation who declared war on the Union, and they see it as a sign of rebellion.
They probably see it as a sign of rebellion, or maybe a sign of their heritage, or something like that. Like they were raised in the South, and that's maybe what they're using it to represent now.
The water has been muddied with cultural values, because there is a different kind of culture the farther south you go in the United States, and there's a different culture the farther north you go. And then eventually, if you go far enough north, it gets back to south again.
Hit the UP in Michigan. What you doing here, boy? I was going north. Here you were. Jimmy, get the lipstick.
But yes, with any symbol, with any statue, with any flag, I think for me it's less about canceling it and more about education. I hate to argue on a slippery slope argument, but it kind of is a slippery slope when you start to cancel things. How far do you go until you start canceling actual history and actual events to the point that the society has stopped teaching them?
Well, that's what I wanted to bring up, is that there are kids and adults now, sadly, that believe the Holocaust is fake, that it didn't actually happen. And again, it's because they don't talk about this stuff.
Yeah,
they're because it was so horrible and whatever. They don't want to talk about it. I'm like, that's the whole reason you need to talk about it. Stop being a delicate snowflake, and just you have to talk about this horrible stuff. Otherwise, we're doomed to repeat it
eventually.
Right?
I mean, it might not happen for 10,000 years,
correct,
but eventually.
But guess what? Yeah. And that's why when you're like, no one's gonna forget who Hitler is. We're on the path. I mean,
when you get to the point where you have Holocaust deniers, and this happened less than 100 years ago.
Yes,
like that's what's really scary. This happened less than 100 years ago, and we already have people denying that it happened.
Right,
just like people who believe in chemtrails and the Earth is flat. Those people are crazy.
Human history is extremely beautiful and also extremely offensive by today's standards.
Oh, absolutely.
So, the big issue we have is education. From my point of view, it's education. We need to teach people that when you're looking at history, you can't look at it through the lens of today's society.
Correct.
Today's society is different. It's I don't know if you want to say evolved, but it is different. We've made progress in a lot of areas. Sure, there's a lot of work to do still. There always will be. Mm-hmm. But it's just not the same to look back and say, I can't believe they did that. Because, a lot of things then were just normal. 100 years from now, they might say doing podcasts was hideous. It was heinous. It was evil. But here we are, and we think there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. We're destroying the planet as a society. We didn't, there's debate about whether or not we knew it was horrible earlier. But I'm sure when they first opened the first factory that ran on coal, somewhere in England, I think, then they didn't know that they were harming the planet. Mm-hmm. So yes, that's pretty much all of the cancel culture boils down to that for me. It's you got to educate people to look at history through a different lens.
That's just it. That's what I have the issue with cancel culture is stop canceling it, because now it's going to go away. And then someone, like in the scenario we just talked about, someone's going to think, hey, this might be a good idea to try, or hey, I've never heard anything about this. What about? And they say if you don't learn your history, it's doomed to repeat itself. That's exactly what is going to happen. So yes, education is, I would agree, education is key in order to make sure that we don't forget this stuff. It's not fun. We don't want to hear about millions of people being shipped by train to giant ovens and dying. It's horrific. But that's why we need to learn it, is so that we don't ever do that to anybody ever again. So to cancel this stuff, A, is just stupid. And then B, the stuff that is starting to be canceled now is just ridiculous. It's almost like there's people in a basement somewhere like, all right, what can we cancel next? You know?
You ever just wake up out of a dead sleep? I am offended.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like what's going on right now.
It really does.
The silliest stuff. And they're like,
It's kind of what I was trying to point out earlier. Like, it's no longer the public who are deciding what to cancel.
Mm-hmm.
It's these businesses in response to how the public have reacted to cancel culture.
Yes.
It's like they're trying to preemptively stop anything negative from happening to their company because of cancel culture.
Yeah.
So they're just taking everything that might possibly offend someone down. And I don't know about you guys, but humans are really good at finding something to offend them. Like, if you look anywhere, you can find something that's going to offend you.
hey, Jason.
No one is ever going to be happy.
No, Jason's all right. I got nothing. I was trying to
It's
think.
really hard to find.
I was like,
something
what's going to offend me? Oh, that says 2 XP on your monster can. I'm offended because it should have been 3 XP.
I'm sorry.
Because you're worth more than that.
That's it. Throw away my monster. So, yeah. Pepe LePew. We were all joking about it off mic earlier. Like,
Bring my boy back.
yeah. That was the whole... A skunk was hitting on a cartoon cat.
For 75 years.
For 75 years.
75
making
years.
unwanted advances on this cat. Right? For 75 years. Now, let's take longevity out of it. What always happened in those cartoons? Every single time he would try to give an unwanted advance, something negative would happen to him. Every single time. Roadrunner and the Coyote. Okay. Coyote would try to get him. Guess what? Bam. He would get hit. It's the same thing. So why fixate on the one horrible thing, which is a cartoon of a skunk trying to hit on a cat?
Who accidentally got painted.
Yeah, it was always, there was always some accidental paint, so that way the black cat looked like
A skunk.
a skunk, yeah. Which, again, hilarious. But you're fixating on this because, he's doing something that is unwanted, blah, 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 just showing kids that it's okay. Well, it's also showing kids that if you try it, you're going to get an anvil dropped on your head. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Acme Corporation, if you'd like to sponsor the podcast.
Well, it's like they removed an episode of the Golden Girls because they were wearing a face mask.
Oh.
And they claimed, it could be seen as blackface.
Oh my god.
If you know the Golden Girls, they are the most wholesome
Right.
of any women on this planet, except maybe Jess. But
Will doesn't know I
Nice
actually
save.
used to watch the Golden Girls all the time.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually. I actually used to watch the Golden
I
Girls.
know.
I mean, I've seen every one. It's so I know we know that the Golden Girls are not evil.
Not
There's
to be
not an
trifled
evil
with.
bone in their body.
Except I think, what's her name? I can't. Oh my god, I can't believe this happened to me. She's still alive. I don't remember her name.
Betty White?
Betty White. Yeah, thank you. I knew it was Betty. I just couldn't remember the last name. I think she's like literally Palpatine, just siphoning the life force out of every other person that's alive. She's just sitting there. She's like, yes, and she's just sitting there living off of the life force of every young celebrity that just makes it.
Her and the Queen.
Yeah, they make it, and their first goal is to actually go and give Betty White a handshake. That's the mistake. That's how she gets you. Because you give her that handshake, and she's like, 5 more years.
Now, I do want to say, if you're offended by something, that is valid. You're allowed to be offended by something.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with being offended by something. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to read it. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to hear it. You have the option to walk away from something that is offensive to you.
Yeah.
On any platform, I want to say. Do you know how many TV shows or how many TV channels there were when I was growing up? Because I'm an old man. 5. You know how many are out there now? Hundreds. Possibly thousands if you start throwing in
definitely
streaming.
thousands.
Yes. And guess what? Freaking change the channel. If there's something that you're hearing, there's YouTube. Literally millions of videos. And if there's something, move on. I just don't understand. I think people think that they're doing right by canceling, quote unquote, these things that are bad, when really it's more of a selfish motivation In the most cases, I feel that's how it goes. You're trying to cancel a cartoon skunk. Well, they tried to cancel freaking Chase from Paw Patrol.
Didn't they actually cancel Chase from Paw Patrol?
Did they? I thought I saw.
I thought they actually canceled him.
I don't understand. What was the other cartoon? There was another cartoon that was...
There was an anime. I think it was one of Miyamoto's works, or Miyazaki's works. I don't remember the whole story. But it was... Japan got fed up with it, and they just said they weren't going to release anymore in America because of it. Because they went and pulled it off Netflix. And they were like, yeah, this is offensive, because it was... it was Jirobu and the Iron Wolves. So they made Jirobu and the Iron Wolves, which just got a Netflix series adaptation, by the way, and I'm so glad that one got put out. But the original one was pulled off Netflix because it was offensive. And the creator of the series was really mad about that. And he was like, okay, we're just not going to make anything else and give you guys that. So you guys can just go on and do your own thing. So we'll keep making it for us over here, but you guys don't get it anymore.
I was thinking more of Speedy Gonzalez. That was the one I was thinking.
That one too, yeah, he got canceled
I'm
too.
a 5-year-old. Yeah, so Speedy Gonzalez, because it's, racially insensitive. Well, then why stop there? Let's go with Sylvester, because he has a speech impediment. Well, now my kid has a speech impediment, and now he thinks that they're making fun of him, so we can't have that.
Leghorn.
Let's do Foghorn Leghorn, because he stutters. Why? What else?
Bunny.
Oh, no, we can keep Bugs Bunny, because he's a cross-dresser. That's okay. That empowers children. That's fine.
Yosemite Sam. They took his guns.
They took his
Did
guns.
Elmer Fudd get to keep his shotgun?
I don't know.
If he got to keep his
I think
shotgun,
they gave him a net.
Are you serious?
I think so. I could be wrong.
I'm okay. Now I'm offended. I would like to cancel culture. Can you do that?
The problem is just there's a lot of hypocrisy and double standards.
That's it.
Do you have an iPhone? Why aren't you upset about the labor practices of what it takes to make that iPhone?
Yep.
The things that you're watching on it, you're offended by, but you're not offended by the iPhone itself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if you're gonna do something, it has to be across the board. It can't be cherry picking.
Correct.
That's literally why I brought up my hatred for Coca-Cola earlier, because my hatred for Coca-Cola is so much different than Jason's. Jason's hatred for Coca-Cola is completely boiled down to they want me to be less white. My hatred for Coca-Cola boils down to what they do with rodeos and how much money they give rodeos and how much I despise rodeos.
Yeah.
Because rodeos aren't... The animals for rodeos, they don't have a choice. They're not having fun. They're getting tortured all the time. And not one time have I been to a rodeo and seen the animals treated well. They're always treated like crap, hurted in the worst possible ways, and then abused for human entertainment. If you're going to a rodeo and watching a rodeo and the only thing you're not there to watch is the potato sack races, you're a monster. They literally baby calves. They'll stun baton a calf, make it run, so it's already scared for its life, and then while it's running, some angry, mean, 42-year-old, morbidly obese, angry guy.
Stop looking at me when you say this.
Chasing it on the back of his horse, ropes it, and then while it's running, yanks it with a tight rope over its eyes and drags it to the floor. No rancher in this world would ever do that. Ever. And I hate it because it's just animal cruelty, dude. I just can't stand it. And Coca-Cola gives them more money than any other organization on the planet. Yeah. And that's why I hate Coca-Cola.
Which is ironic because most rodeo people are white.
Yeah, I know. Meanwhile, Coca-Cola's like, if we double standard this real quick, they'll never check the rodeos.
All right, we got about 5 minutes left. Do we want to wrap it up? Do we want to pull Volt into a second episode? What are we going to do? I love it. I love silence and
we're the
shrugging
guests
shoulders.
here. You're the host of this thing, this whole shebang.
Well, then we are all screwed.
I totally heard there was food.
What? Did you tell him?
I said nothing.
You told me.
I did?
Yes.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
He's becoming senile.
Yeah, you literally told me. Because you brought up grilling. And I yelled at you about it. You said, well, I was going to do that when you guys came over on Thursday.
Do you hear what's hitting the roof right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Go
right.
do your job.
It's raining.
It's going to be a little difficult to grill in the rain.
Especially with that kind of attitude. I mean, that's... if anything's holding you back It's that
My attitude,
You
yeah.
need to definitely try harder.
Yeah.
Hashtag cancel Jason.
Sorry,
Hashtag
Dad.
cancel Jason.
Yeah.
Do better.
Oh God.
That's my favorite thing to come out of cancel culture is how they always like act so condescending at the very end of their whole statement. Do better.
Do better.
It's like
Maybe we will pull Vault into another one because I really want to. There's a couple things that we should really talk about that. Cancel culture.
cancel.
All right.
New
Well, hey,
hashtag.
See you soon.
while we figure that out,
We gotta get more rum.
yeah. So I gotta get these two liquor back up. Just a couple of house cleaning things. Check us out on 57percenttrue.com. Spell out that percent symbol. Make sure you do that because if you search with the percent symbol, Coca-Cola will come to your house and then rodeo tie you up to the bathroom, and it's not good.
I'm completely okay with them doing that to people.
Just not animals?
Just don't do it to the poor calf. It didn't do nothing wrong.
Fair enough. However, if you are searching for us on your favorite streaming device, do use that percent symbol, 57% true. You can also find us on social media, which I absolutely hate, Twitter and Facebook at 57% true, again spelled out. Like to have a little moral or whatever of the day kind of thing. So what should we do as like a positive, uplifting thing for this episode?
I already got us. Do better.
Hashtag do better.
Hashtag cancel culture.
Actually, you know what? This is an old one. I don't know if it's still around. Check out Do Something. Do Something was a big thing in the late 90s, early 2000s that did a lot of fantastic things where if people were wanting to do good, but they didn't know what they could do, they could actually go to Do Something and basically fill out like this little questionnaire thing, and they would say, this is what you would do, blah, blah, blah. They would help you get grants and things like that to actually help get going. So, you know what? If there's something where you're like, I'm really talented at balancing paper plates on my pinky fingers, how can I do that? Go to Do Something, and they'll get you on the right way. I think that's about it. Oh, you can also drop us a couple bucks at Patreon or Anchor.fm if you search for us on there. We actually have our first person that's giving us money. I'm so excited.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you got their name for the big shout out?
I'm going to keep her anonymous.
Okay.
Because she requested it. However, she's amazing and I appreciate all the effort. So, if you want to be cool like our anonymous donor, be an anonymous donor. We'd appreciate it. Any final words from you, gentlemen?
I need more rum.
You do. We're getting you some. Hang on there, Tiger. Anything, Will?
I'm proud of you. You made it to the end.
Yeah. Good job.
You don't have to do better because you're already doing the best.
Absolutely. If you had to listen to the three of us for an hour, anyway. So, for my friends Will and Cody, my name is Jason, and
Good night.
that works.